Now, the 10-minute drill.
This is a big one.
On 1010XL.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Hit it. Oh, it's Head on a Swivel time. We look back, we look ahead. Woo! Get you caught up on the weekend that was, the week that may be. All rolled up into one package. We call it the 10-minute drill. And when we're done, we'll have a family 4-pack to the Jumbo Shrimp for you. Lunch or dinner for two at Chick-fil-A as well. So stay tuned for that. Cue to call as well. Beef, what do you got?
Well, obviously, I think the big talker from the weekend was the Wimbledon finales. One epic and one blink and you miss it, featuring some of the all-time greats. Joker takes the epic final set from Roger Federer, and then Serena Williams, I guess, ran out of gas, got blitzed in the ladies' finale.
Well, I mean, Simona Halep is
very good.
In the prime of her career, right? That's not her first major, and she's going to win more, and it's going to be more and more difficult. Again, it's just this hot take nonsense just is muddying the waters for good, legitimate, clear thinking and retrospective. At some point, you move to the retrospective part of an athlete's terrific career. We're to the retrospective part for Serena and Roger Federer. Anything you get from them now is gravy. I mean, I know it's not to them. There's a reason that Serena in her last, and I wish I had the numbers right in front of me, but her last, she's lost like her last 5 finals, I think, and they haven't been close. They're straight setters, like, 2-6, 3-6, 1-6, 4-6. So there's a reason, and that reason is, quite frankly, she's 37 years old. In a game, women's tennis, where the new hot things come along, the hot athletes, hot players come along, at the age of 15, 16, 17 years old sometimes. So instead of picking apart Serena and getting ridiculous, offers of advice on how she can move forward, how about we just appreciate what she's done? With all due respect, no due respect, Serena Williams doesn't need any tips from the media on what her strength and conditioning program should be.
To your point, Jeff, the last 3 Grand Slam finals that Serena has been in, 2018 Wimbledon, she lost to Angelique Kerber, 6-3, 6-3. Then in 18, she lost the U.S. Open final to Naomi Osaka, 6-2, 6-4. And then Saturday to Simona Halep, 6-2, 6-2.
So there you go. I mean, so it's not just that she's lost, but there, especially that age, there is an accomplishment in making to the final. There is.
Sure.
And you got to hope that you get the right draw and, don't catch another great player who's playing great. And that's what she caught with Simona Halep. So, things broke for Serena. The number 1 player in the world got knocked out early. Those things have to happen too. But this ridiculous notion that they're ageless and then we're going to get the same Roger Federer and Serena Williams in 2019 that we got in 1999 is just dumb. And so I just moved right past any column that is suggesting to me the author has the answer on what Serena needs to do. Or in this case, Federer, who, listen, Federer is a little different argument. He beat Nadal to get to the championship. He had it yesterday against Djokovic. The 3 longest Wimbledon finals now, Federer has played in all 3 of them.
It's amazing.
Djokovic improves to 9-1 in 5-set matches, but Federer's has to sting because, listen, tennis is a game where you get to 6 games, you win the set.
Right.
Unless it goes to tiebreak. Roger Federer lost a tennis match yesterday when he won at least 6 games in every set.
That's amazing.
In other words, he just got killed in the tiebreaker. He lost 2 tiebreakers. And then the 5th set, they made this new rule now, thanks to an Isner match years ago that went 70-68 in the 5th set. So they have a new rule now. It's the first time it ever came into play was yesterday's final where if you get to 12-12 in the 5th set, 12 games to 12, then you go to the tiebreaker. And that's what happened. But before they got there, Federer was up 8 games to 7 in the 5th set. He had broken Djokovic, and he had a 40-15 lead, and he couldn't finish it off. That wasn't because of his age. That was because he did not win the moment. Djokovic did. Hit a couple of good, gutsy shots to stay alive and ultimately goes on to win. And that's 16 major titles now for the Joker, who is going to put the full court press on passing Roger Federer for the most all-time Grand Slam wins before he's done. Djokovic, I believe, is 31 or 32.
Media Days kicks off today for the SEC, Jeff.
Yeah.
The Gators will roll through. Obviously, everybody wants to hear from Dan Mullen. Everybody's going to want to hear from Kirby Smart. Is there a team rolling through this week besides the big dogs, the Gators and Georgia and the Alabamas that you're interested to hear from, whether they're on the come or a team that's switched coaches or anything that sort of catches your eye outside of the teams we're expecting to hear from and excited to hear from already?
It would be more fun if we knew who the team was going to be. In other words, there is a team sitting there in the weeds. All right, last year it was Kentucky. In fact, coming up at 7:30, I'm going to really go inside some of the history and some of the teams that have overperformed what we thought of them coming out of SEC Media Days and underperformed coming out of SEC Media Days. In other words, a team that was picked to finish 7th in their division instead finishes 3rd. That's been Kentucky. But it's hard to know for sure who that team is now. And that's evident by the fact that entire list is based on where the media thought they were in August, or July, as the case is this year. So, there's a couple of teams to me that could be quietly dangerous, and one of those is Missouri. I talked about that top 100 list of college football players. Missouri has 3 players on that list, more than Florida does. They got a good coach in Barry Odom. They got a transfer quarterback in Kelly Bryant. So I think Missouri could be, maybe a version of last year's Kentucky. Kentucky went to won 10 games, went to a New Year's Bowl. And the other, and this is dangerous because this is a team that always has most recently underperformed, and that's Tennessee, who got offensive line help through a 5-star recruiting class and who has a quarterback who could be ready to break out. And it'll all be on the quarterback position, or a lot of it will. But to me, those are 2 teams that I'm not so much interested in hearing what they have to say now. I don't think it's enough to change the mind, but I think those are 2 teams that are probably going to be projected lower than they actually finish.
I know you'll talk about this more when we get to the football fix, so I'm not asking you to go in great detail, but we go through the headlines here on the 10-minute drill. There was a lot of talk this weekend about a report of a proposed 18-game schedule by the league to the Players Association that would feature 18 games, but players only being required to play 16. The Players Union has balked at that. But do you feel like there's enough smoke here that we're headed towards the 18-game schedule in some capacity?
Well, it's funny how the 18-game schedule does flare up and die down, doesn't it, right? It was about 5 years ago. We were all gung-ho on this 18-game schedule. The new CBA came along, and it got pushed off for now. So, while there's some smoke, I think it is going to be officially asked by the owners or presented by the owners, and then we'll see if it's a sticking point with the players. I'm not sure I like an 18-game schedule, but a 16-game limit for the players.
Yeah, it seems odd.
I mean, what are we doing at the quarterback position? So we're throwing the entire season up for grabs by playing the backup quarterback 2 games?
Right. You're going to tell us every game matters, but then you're going to have 2 games where your best guys can't play?
And obviously you're going to and then you're going to have to – no, look, injuries knock guys out. So I think it more – you can kind of – you can store your sick days a little bit, so to speak, that way. But that seems – an 18-game schedule, but a 16-game limit for the players, that sounds too clunky for me to go through. And the players seem like they are adamantly against an 18-game schedule. So, yeah, there's smoke. I think it'll be discussed. I don't think the players are gonna go for it, though.
And lastly, I just want to give you the opportunity because I know you're feeling good about it. The second half of the baseball season opened up. And so far, your Atlanta Braves yet to notch an L.
Well, Washington and Philly opened a series against each other, and the Nats won 2 out of 3, and they ended up losing a game to the Braves, who have an always tough spot in San Diego. San Diego. The Braves and many teams from the East struggle a bunch when they go out west. Play teams like the Giants and the Dodgers and the Padres, Seattle if they go interleague. So that's a tough. Colorado, Arizona. It's just that those trips west do damage to a lot of good teams out of the East. So. The fact that they went into San Diego against the Padres team, by the way, who has, designs on its own postseason hopes. They could be yeah,
they're in the mix.
Yeah, for sure. They could be a wild card team. So, yeah, to go at San Diego and win 3 games in a row for Mike Soroka. Listen, a couple things happened for the Braves this weekend. And then there's a third thing that's been happening, which is making them look like absolute geniuses with one of their offseason moves. Those things are this. They obsessed and worried, and maybe I did too, about Ronald Acuna Jr. coming off of the home run derby. Would that affect his swing, put him in a slump? The answer is a categoric no. He had a 455-foot homer the first game. He homered again the second game. So 2 homers in the first 3 out of the gates. He's raised his average to almost 300. He hit 1 home run 455 feet the other day. So, yeah, that's not a worry. There's a second narrative that Mike Soroka, the rookie, the 20-year-old, was kind of running out of gas. His last 3 starts, he'd had an ERA about 4. Well, he went out yesterday, pitched 7 scoreless innings, career high, 9 strikeouts, won his 10th straight decision. So that concern or storyline was muted this weekend. And then the third one that is not getting a lot of attention because the Braves have so many positive storylines right now, but the signing of Josh Donaldson is starting to look pretty freaking genius. Donaldson homered 3 times this weekend. He's got 22 home runs now for the Braves. He's going to hit 35 home runs and drive in close to 100, which is proven to be quite the bargain and the luxury for an Atlanta team that, I will remind you, also has the 5th best prospect in all of baseball waiting in Double-A. So, yeah, there are a lot of things for Braves fans to be happy about. They're up to 57-37 now. The Nats lose yesterday. They have a 7-game lead over the Nationals, a 7.5-game lead, maybe even 8.5 over the Phillies. So, yeah, the start couldn't have been any better for the
They
Brahmas.
certainly feel like the real deal, don't they?
They could use another starting pitcher, but there's not a thing you can do to that lineup to really make it any better. There's not a hole in the lineup. You go 1 to 8. They're gonna have all 8 players. They're gonna have 9. By the end of the year, every starter on that team is going to have at least 10 home runs, and 7 of those players are going to have at least 20 home runs. That's kind of offense the Braves are fashioning. One more game-changing starting pitcher, if he's available in free agency, might make them legitimate World Series contenders. We shall see. So, yeah, all right, caller number 4, we're going to give you the prize pack. That's going to send you for lunch or dinner for 2 at Chick-fil-A. Also a family 4-pack to the Jumbo Shrimp. By the way, Jumbo Shrimp, shout out, red hot. They're in a tie for first place here in the second half. So
Someone said baseball's never been hotter.
well, we'll wish the Shrimp good luck. Shrimping ain't easy. But they pulled into first, and you can enjoy a family 4-pack to that game as well. Caller number 4 right now at 641-1010 takes that home.